Welcome to the show. This is where your offers get sharper, your messaging gets stronger, and your business becomes impossible to ignore. Let's begin. This is the Marketing Makeover Show. Let me fix your marketing in real time. All right, welcome to the Marketing Makeover Show. My name is Chris Moore, founder of Pocket Marketer, and I'm here today with Ben and Jim and Tim, and they are early adopters of the Pocket Marketer software program, and we're here to talk about their business today. I'm here to give them as much value as humanly possible and help them grow their business and how to leverage Pocket Marketer to be able to create world-class marketing material to help them get exactly what they're looking for their business. So, hey, Jim, Ben, Tim, welcome to the show. Really glad to have you guys. Let's start out. I'm going to do a couple things that I like to do. Number one, I'm going to open up my note taker because I want to really record this because we're going to feed this conversation into Pocket Marketer to start. So let's just start from the beginning. Tell me a little bit about your business. What are we working on together today? You told me you own AI for Tennessee and ownais.com. Tell me about that. Is that an agency? What kind of customers are you working with?
You want me to go? I'll talk on the ownais.com.
Okay.
I started off with inviting Tim to an event in February, and we kind of decided to jump in on it. Tim was just retired, and I was looking for a solution to help out with real estate investing and get my website and learn all that side. And then after going to the event in February, both Tim and I decided to go ahead and start this own AIS. And then once we got to Orlando, seeing you on stage and seeing a few other people, we've since then I've brought in some other people into the affiliate program. I have 2 of those, but we're looking to get this as an AI agency to get started. We also will do the affiliate for AI for business, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Tim or Ben, you want to go for the AI for TN?
Yeah, I can speak up here. So pretty much what Jim said, same thing happened here in Tennessee. We got started and we're trying to do the AI agency thing, working towards getting customers through, whether it's emails, social media posting. Those are kind of our core things that we'll be doing. But I think both Ben and I have an interest of doing, getting out in front of people. And there's a void in Nashville, I think, with people who will meet with you and discuss your AI needs. So I think that's one of the things we're going to work towards here in probably the next 30 to 45 days is get to where we can be doing some workshops to start, getting some groundswell of support and experience in what we're doing. And then after that, I'd like to get more aggressive with the marketing and sales for that type of activity and maybe morph that into some training as we go. But that's kind of where I envision it, and then I'll let Ben step in and give a few.
Let me ask some questions before we go to Ben. One of the biggest things in general for me to be able to really help is I've got to get rid of any ambiguity. So I'd like to understand more of 2 things specifically. One, what exactly are you offering, right? Because the idea of selling AI services or having an AI agency is still a little ambiguous. So like, what exactly are you going to be selling? What exact services? Who are you going to be selling to? Have you niched down at some level? That would be really helpful to understand.
So we haven't necessarily niched down to any level, but we realize that, it's too broad of topics just to start throwing stuff out, see what sticks.
Sure.
But I was thinking, the core offerings that, Jim mentioned, we'll be doing that. But I believe we have an interest in looking at, like let's say we get in front of a company and we sit down with, there probably is going to be middle management type of people, right? And maybe some engineers. We would sit down with them and ask them, hey, what are your pain points? What do you spend a lot of time on? And take that back, do a qualification with them, a pre-qualification, take it back and look and see what AI services that we've come in contact with and may have some experience with. We may be able to bring that back to them and say, here, this is what we believe would be your first step, and, kind of layer that in and get them going, and then say, why don't we look at training some of your employees to do what we're doing with you right now so you can continue this on in the future and hopefully establish relationships where we have that analysis and solution that we can give to customers after meeting with them. I don't know if that helps or not, but
yeah, a little bit. I'm going to probe a little bit more. Let's go to Ben. Ben, tell me a little bit about it in your words, and then I'll go into asking some specific questions. Tim, that works.
Okay. Yes, that's the goal, and that's why. I mean, I met Tim down in Orlando when we first saw you, and anyway, we bonded because of Nashville affiliate, and he had said that we both spoke on stage, and he said that he was going to do the Chamber of Commerce in Nashville, and I was like, well, shoot, why don't we partner up? So that was kind of the premise of everything. So we did join, and we have been to a couple events, networking, and we've called a couple people. It's kind of like it takes like multiple touches to get somebody from cold to warm, and so we've just been kind of doing that. And then now, about four months have gone by, and now we're thinking with Jim and Tim, we're thinking about kind of shifting to more like an online. Just we got to get some revenue coming, so we wrote an ebook, Lead Magnet, started the funnel. And then we want to do an upsell to like a full 9-module course that we already have. We have most of it. We have to do some tweaks, but
sure.
But I was thinking the best way to get, because I work in an agency. I'm a professional copywriter, so I've been in agencies for about over 20 years, and it's the difference between like services and products. I feel like if we start out with products, then there wouldn't be so much back and forth, and people would just buy the product. And we don't have an email list, but we want to build it.
Sure.
And then once we can, so we offer a free ebook, get them in, upsell them on the course, and yeah, so pretty much eventually, yes, the service, the local Chamber of Commerce and stuff, but right now we want to get some money in the door.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
I'll jump in if that's okay. The whole premise of this show is for me to give you as much value as humanly possible. And when I look at kind of, all right, where we are right now, it's a little bit of it's kind of an inflection point in some ways. And you have the ability to go in a lot of different directions. Whenever someone starts into a business at any level, whether it's this type of business, AI services, it often starts because people see a need in the market, or from their perspective, it looks like there's a need in the market. Yeah, I definitely think that there's so many people who need this product, this service. Let's go fill that need. And most of the time, they're usually very wrong on what the need that actually exists. And it's more they're shopping out of their own pocket. And that's why most businesses fail. 96% of businesses fail in the first 10 years, directly from the E-Myth, Michael Gerber. And a lot of times it's because they're not solving a big enough problem. So as a sales coach, marketing coach, agency coach, I've learned over the years that you have to make sure we ask questions to our prospects like, how big of a priority is this? How big of a problem is this? At the end of the day, people only pull out their wallet to solve bleeding problems. They only pull out their wallet to solve front burner problems. They don't solve back burner problems. And a lot of times when we come up with offers like this or ideas like this, we're not solving problems that are really that high of a priority in our prospect's mind. So I'd encourage you guys to do a big paradigm shift today with me. And let's not think about any of the stuff that we necessarily just said, and let's clean the slate and start over. We've got to find bleeding problems to solve. The mechanism of how you solve it is AI, either a productized, like you said, Ben, which you said brilliantly, the idea of anybody listening to this, products versus services. The idea of productizing something allows you to have fulfillment that's very predictable, it's very easy, and you can usually solve one problem 100 times versus solving 100 different problems one time each. And that's why a lot of agencies, like Ben's talking about from his background and my background, we like to sell the same thing again and again, because fulfilling it's easier. We can lower our labor cost. It can be more predictable, and we can solve the same problem again and again with a lot more certainty, rather than bringing on any project that we can bring on and have to do something different every single time and build out big custom solutions different every single time. That's a much harder business model. So I think you're smart, Ben, in the idea of going towards that. The other thing I heard you guys go towards, and just forgive me, I don't wear gloves. I just tell you how I feel, and I'm going to help you very constructively through this process, is I want you to be thinking about the idea of like coaching or teaching a course and things like that. That's also a decent option, but it sounds like we're having an identity crisis around who we want to help, because the person who's going to try to take a course is not the same person who's going to pay you 30 grand for a custom solution, who's not the same person who's going to pay you $2,000 a month to solve one specific problem that everyone that you talk to has, right? 3 different customer avatars, 3 different types of authors, 3 different types of deliveries, so you got to kind of choose one. This is the part in business where most people get a little stuck. And the reason why people get stuck sometimes is because they haven't fully tested demand enough to validate going all in one direction or the other. Would you guys agree? And that's part of where you are right now, is like, hey, there's some demand here, some demand here. And then also we look through the filter of our own eyes. And if I had a set of glasses, I'd put them on. It's kind of like, what would make this easier for us? And sometimes the idea of going after doing a course instead, because the fulfillment won't be as much of what I call a PITA factor, pain in the ass factor, to do a course, and we can deliver one to many, which your marketing training tells you is a good idea. And it is sometimes, and it's not sometimes. It just kind of depends, right? And it's very, very much a demand-driven business at the end of the day. So what I would start with is we need to identify exactly who we want to serve, number one. We need to go in and figure out who's our customer avatar, what problems are we solving? I don't care what you're going to do for them. What problems are you solving specifically? Problems that are bleeding, problems that are front burner, not back burner, because people will literally pull out their money to solve it. They woke up this morning already fretting about it. If they didn't fret about it this morning, you're not going to sell them anything. It's not going to happen. The idea of going and doing networking and anything, it's all okay. You're going to get lucky every once in a while, but most people, they have to enter the sales cycle. It's triggered by something, an occurrence, a moment, something that says, I need this. And whether they've even considered having AI automation do it or not, that's a whole nother story, right? So whenever we get in these type of businesses, and I've consulted with, I'm telling you, thousands of people and business owners, and hundreds and hundreds probably in this exact position. It's like, all right, we're at a moment, we got to choose a direction. I always start with number one is demand. Where is the most demand? We always have this saying in acquisitions, it's called the path will reveal itself. If you go out and talk to enough people and you start doing very solid discovery sessions, asking questions, understanding where does it hurt, how long has it been hurting, what have you tried to fix it, what else have you been doing, it'll start to reveal itself where the holes are and where the demand is, and the pockets where you're actually solving legitimate bleeding problems that people are already looking to hand someone money for. Until you find that, this is a very tough battle. It's a very uphill battle, because if there's no demand, there's no sales, and you can't talk someone into believing they have a problem or talk someone into believing they need a solution. They didn't wake up this morning feeling like they need it, right? It just doesn't work. So the good news is, this is the good news, there's a lot of demand out there. I think you just haven't quite found your pocket. When you find your pocket, and I can show you through Pocket Marketer how to do more research on this, this gets really, really easy. It's like taking candy from a baby. It's people who already woke up this morning looking for someone to hand money to, and you're just sitting here receiving it. So I have a company where we create those $20, $30, $40, $50,000 custom AI solutions, and we have more business than we can handle. And I didn't want to do that, but that's where the demand led us. And I had 2 affiliate relationships that says, hey, we need someone who can build all this stuff out. We have all the customers. We don't want to do the fulfillment. They brought it to us. So those exist. I know a lot of guys that are doing one specific thing with AI, one service for one industry, one market, solving one problem, and they're making money hand over fist. That's why most jack of all trade tools don't sell, or they're worth very little, because they're not solving a legitimate problem. So what I would do to start with, guys, is let's get in to Pocket Marketer and let's look at all these things that you guys have together. You have all these ingredients on your cutting board right now in your kitchen. You just got to figure out what recipe you want to make. And then also, like, what are the people in line already asking to order? That's what we got to figure out. Does this all make sense?
Yeah,
so this is more business consulting today, but that's okay. But that's the whole part of it. Like, if you knew the answer, you'd already be executing like crazy. So let's see if we can find some clarity today, and then we can move forward. So I've put this in my note taker. So what I'd like to do is share my screen. So maybe you can give me a verbal when you can see Pocket Marketer. Can you guys see Pocket Marketer?
We see a blank screen with powered by Pocket Marketer. We don't see the actual program.
How about now?
Yep, there we go.
Beautiful. Hey, and also Tim, Ben, if you'll go on mute when you type, because it's real loud on my side.
Got it.
That's why I put you on mute a few times. All good. So let's go to projects. We're in my account, not yours today, but we're going to do probably AI for Tennessee as the project name. We're going to do that as the name of the actual company as well. We are looking to provide AI services for business owners. And hit create. What I'm going to do, you probably won't see this on your screen, but I'm going to go ahead and stop my note taker. And what we do in Pocket Marketer is we have something called a strategy brief. The strategy brief is the ability to go through a discovery session. You can do this with your clients. You can do this with your own teammates. This can be done pretty much whenever you'd like. And we have several different versions of the questionnaires. And the reason why this is here is this gives the context that a world-class marketer would need to be able to help you go out and execute your marketing for you. So now that we took the transcript from the conversation we just had, we can save it to the project knowledge base. Now inside of my project, AI for Business Tennessee, we have the ability to actually have this knowledge base working with us without having to go back and give it context every couple minutes, every time we want to ask another question. So what I'd like to do is jump into the Project Growth Strategist or the Pocket Marketer tool here, and let's just talk about direction. Let's talk about demand. Let's talk about maybe what we could be doing in choosing a direction, right? So we really need to choose a direction here. We can sell a lot of different things, but we haven't found that moment where the demand really meets the market and where people are already waking up saying, I need to pay someone to do this. So can we do some brainstorming on the different offers that we could be making, either services or productized, and the different customer avatars that are out there, and kind of determine maybe what offer we should focus on?
Sure.
So there's a lot of different ways to do this. I prefer to do these type of things more in my big idea generator tool, more in my Pocket Growth Strategist tool, but the Pocket Marketer tool is also very, very good. But we can go in and just do some brainstorming on it. While we're waiting for that to work, one of the things that I want you all to be thinking about on your end is what solves the ultimate problem you're looking to solve, right? So think about where you are in the world right now, where you are in life. In business, we have the ability to talk about what do we want this business to do for us, right? And before I go to Pocket Marketer, I want to talk about this a little bit. So like Ben, we have something called a so that statement in marketing and in copywriting as well. The so that statement is the benefit or the benefit beyond the benefit of why someone does what they're doing, right? I want to do this so that I can do this. So when you are designing a new business like this, you have the ability to design it. Do you want it to be a lifestyle business? Do you want it to be something that you operate all full time? Do you want to build something that has the ability to exit in 2 years? Do you want to have something that provides you a very specific defined outcome, like $10,000 a month take home each? Do you want to do this so that you can retire from your other job that you're working? Like, you need to determine that a little bit, because the direction you go in is greatly affected by that. And you kind of have to reverse engineer that from the very beginning. So if you don't mind sharing, that would be helpful for me, because my advice is going to change for you dramatically depending on what you answer. So maybe Jim, tell me, like, what do you want this business to look like? What do you visualize? What do you want it to be able to do for you?
First off, I want it to replace my current income. Number two, I want to be able to build it, be self-sustaining, that we can hire enough people to be able to actually get it going. And I just want to be able to manage it and, give the employees the opportunity to grow and make it grow itself.
Love it. So self-sustaining at some level, owner manager, but a little bit passive, and replace your income. What about you, Tim?
I am the one who retired, so I don't have to replace my income. And I don't want to call this a hobby, but I would say I don't have the burning need or desire that, let's say, Ben or Jim need to do because they want to replace their current incomes. But I do have that burning desire, even though I don't have to. AI has the whole interaction with the folks, AI for Business, and it kind of lit a fire in me that I didn't know was burning down there. And so I do have the enthusiasm, and what I want to do is bump my lifestyle up to where, let's say, if I want to, I want to buy a nice car, I just do it without even, having to worry about it, plan it, whatever. But I don't need it to put bread on my table.
Understood. What about you, Ben?
Oh, well, so I'm a copywriter, and I do have a really big client agency that we work with people on CNBC and Fox Business, and other like compliance attorneys that you probably know the name. But so that's good. The big company's good, but I've also had a couple of side clients for like side income, and they're much smaller. They're like startups, and I've realized in the past year or so that I'm getting a lot of disrespect from these guys. And once they hire me to write an email sequence for every product they have, then it's kind of like, oh, well, we don't need you anymore, that type of thing. So I kind of saw the writing on the wall for copywriting in general. Like, I mean, you hear the stories of, like Microsoft just fired like 14,000 coders, developers and stuff. Like they're replacing people with AI. And so even though a long time ago I was a generalist, and then I just went into the specific niche of copywriting, now I'm trying to flip it back to start my own agency, because I've already got the copywriting, where I've never been able to be a designer or a landing page or something. I've always just written it and given it to somebody, but now I can't. Like suddenly, those things I couldn't do. So that's a big deal. I also have my first baby on the way, coming in January, so very soon. So, thanks, man. So that's another big goal. So even my current job, I've been able to use AI myself to get from 40 hours a week down to like 15 hours a week, but still I have to answer people, have phone calls 3 or 4 days a week, and it's just, I want more time, and I want something of my own. So basically, I want to kind of like Jim. I want to replace my current salary with AI, and then just keep growing. And I know that we're all in kind of, I think me and Jim are kind of similar spots, but Tim's, he is retired, so I think that I personally would want to keep this rolling for a long time.
Sure.
And maybe, if someone wanted to bail one day, maybe just pay him off and just keep going or something.
Love it. So let's talk about that for a second. And the reason why I asked that question is knowing what you want out of it's a big part. Stephen Covey says begin with the end in mind, and it really helps to do that. So another principle I'll teach you real quick is sometimes you've got to choose a path, even if it's not the perfect path, right? So I heard you say a minute ago, we've been doing this for a while, we got to start creating some revenue. There's no reason to try to find the perfect path right now. You need to create a path that generates revenue. And you've got a couple different main categories of services you can offer. You can offer done-for-you AI automation in like softwares or tools. That's definitely something that makes a lot of money. And that may be 3 or 4 projects. If you guys are all very good vibe coders, and even if you're not, you can hire somebody who's a vibe coder to go out and solve bigger projects for people who are already looking for work. So just some thoughts there. That may give you more money and faster compared to doing more agency services built around monthly recurring revenue. And maybe more marketing focus. That's going to take a little bit longer to build up. And there's about a 3 to 4 month revolving door for most people who jump into marketing agency, especially if you don't have a lot of experience with that. It's a little bit harder to retain clients who pay you monthly than you may think. The other option you could do is go more on like the course side a little bit. Not sure I would really recommend that, because I don't think any of you are world-renowned experts on that specifically, and it may be a little harder to sell than you think because you don't have the credibility to lean on. And maybe you do. Forgive me if I'm wrong. And then the other option you have is create a tool or something that solves one problem and try to sell a living mess out of it. and even if it's pretty low priced, right? So to me, that's where I see kind of like 4 different options available right now. Maybe there's some more out there as well, but maybe there's a blend of it. Maybe you can sell quite a few courses. Maybe you guys have a lot of notoriety there and I'm not aware of it. Maybe taking 3 or 4 clients on at 5 to 10 grand each and doing some vibe coding and solving some major problems. And then, like you say, educating the team to take it over and have a small recurring revenue fee on the back end, maybe the perfect option. Maybe there's things, choosing a plan that's going to actually get you some money is probably the fastest thing to focus on. And then from there, when you have money, it's a little bit easier. One of the agency masterminds I was in, there was a guy named Adam McChesney, and he said, there's not many problems that more money can't solve in a business. So it's the idea of getting revenue coming in kind of solves that. So you can swing the bat a couple times and make 5 to 10 grand a pop, or you can try to go more marketing and kind of work your way a little bit slower with a leak in your bucket automatically, or you can try some of the other options as well. So I think just kind of choosing a direction would be a really smart thing to start with. Have you guys built up any level of a way that you can do proposals? Have you guys done any custom quotes on custom build outs and automations yet? Anything like that?
No. I did go through AI and I kind of built some of that stuff from AI for business to see what we should be charging, and doing all that. But as far as actually proposing it and, doing that, it's there. I started asking questions. What's a marketer get? What's a sales person get? And doing all that and what we should be charging. I've got the basis for it, but not done it yet.
Understood. So with that being said, let's jump back into Pocket Marketer, and I'm going to add that to the tab here. All right, we're back. So this is what I want to start with. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I asked the question of Pocket Marketer. We talked about this a little bit. We gave it full context of our conversation, and let's go do some brainstorming. So it said absolutely nailing the right offer to the right customer with real demand is the foundation for success. As I said just a few minutes ago, we really need to explore and identify, okay, are there some sub-segments of potential customer avatars? Who are the most likely buyers for what we're doing? Are there specific pain points or bleeding problems these people have that we can go after? We need to create some new offer ideas, whether those are service-based or productized. And then we need to identify which one's most likely to get us where we want to go. And it says some few common business types, definitely small business owners and solopreneurs struggling with marketing and content creation. That was one thing we talked about. Doing more marketing agency type work, creating AI-driven solutions for sales teams or SDRs. There's customer support teams with automating with voice AI. There's helping e-commerce stores. There's all these different things you could do. And that's where that paralysis analysis fits in. So we got to kind of choose a path, even if it's not the complete path or the right path long-term, to get some money coming in. So what I would say is it's going to be tough. Pocket Marketer is not going to know the conversations you've had so far. Have you guys had any good conversations with people where you're starting to see people are more open to the idea of paying for AI? When you guys are talking to people about the idea of implementing AI in their business, are a lot of people really receptive to it? What have you found so far?
Let me collect my thoughts before I say what I want to say. But Jim, if you have something, go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of fill in the gap here. So I've had a few business people actually talk to me. One, he has a franchise where he sells services to companies and does all their back end and all that. And he's finding that some of the customers are not fitting into that. And he's wondering if he can roll over some of that business that his business can't take. So that was one. I actually have 2 other businesses. One was a fiber guy. We handed it off to AI for business, and that kind of fell through the gaps for whatever reason. But he was running email campaigns, getting blown out, and then his return rate was like at 1%. So we pushed him over to AI for business, and then come to find out he's not happy with that. So I've talked to him. He's wanting to go with voice because he's finding that some of his people that are VAs have got the foreign voices and it's not working for him. So he wanted to do some AI solutions for that, but he's kind of went with another company because of the results he got from AI for Business. So we're kind of back at square one. I thought we had at least one paying customer, but apparently not. So that's a personal friend of mine, and I'm kind of backing away from him on that because I think I got to let him fail before he comes back to me, is where I'm currently at. I think with him is if he makes it, he makes it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But he has no idea how to look at. He's a technical person. He's not a sales and marketing person. And as a CEO, you have to have both. So.
Understood.
The other thing I would add into there is, in my very brief and small subset of people I talked to so far with AI, the people, they have the budget out there and they know they're going to be using it, but a lot of them have that hesitancy to pull the trigger. But I think all we need to do is find some of these businesses who have the budget, get in front of them, and then put together proposals like you're talking about.
Let's talk about the hesitancy. Why are people hesitant at this moment?
Well, in my opinion, it's going to be a track record. I mean, who has a track record in AI today? Very, very few people. So they're going to ask for that. And that's been something I've been trying to, wrestle with and have good answers for. And I think with the backgrounds that both Ben, Jim, and myself have, Jim and I have a super deep technical depth. And then Ben with his copywriting to the expert level, I think we have to rely on those things and translate that into what customers would consider experience, and then help get past that stage of hesitation because we're unproven.
Yep. So the idea of let's go to a different tab. I talked about this a little bit yesterday on the call that I was hosting, the training call. And I just want to go over this a little bit. So this is something, the Alex Hormozi value equation, really dream outcome, perceived likelihood achievement, time delay, and effort and sacrifice. People have something they're trying to accomplish. When they look at you, though, specifically, this is what you're dealing with at the moment. This is when you start a business. This happens a lot. Is the perceived likelihood of this actually working for people is sometimes low, and they feel like they're taking a bigger risk than you are. And the reason why is they're justifying that by, hey, this person is not necessarily exactly what they do. They haven't been doing it a long time. They haven't been able to give me any case studies or proof or anything like that. And that does cause a lot of issues for sure. But at some point, you've got to get that first person to start building that social proof. Have you tried potentially talking about discounting the services at some level, maybe doing it so you can build the case study? Because that's a big part of it. And there's a certain level of you're not doing it, which is great, but posturing that sometimes happens when people are doing something new and try to kind of fake it till they make it, which I'm glad you're not doing that. But what about coming with your heart in your hand and say, listen, I know this isn't something we've been doing for a long time for money, but we have been doing it. And if you'll allow us to work on the project, we'll discount the rate at the certain rate to help us build up our portfolio. That's something that's worked really well for me in the past. The other thing I do is I go and do projects without trying to get paid, and I just help people and I build portfolios like that as well. So just some things to think about. The biggest thing for me in general and is all about demand. I told you that earlier, but a lot of times when we think about, all right, what are we doing on our day-to-day activities for this business? If the answer is anything but talking to people and making offers, then we're wrong. When you're brand new and you need customers, the only activity you should focus on is talking to people and making offers. Those are the only two things you got to do. Because if you don't talk to people, you're not going to have the chance to make offers. If you don't make offers, no one's going to pay you anything, right? So one of the things I would do as well is getting perspective, testing the demand. I would be doing a lot of networking events. I would be sitting down and having as many discovery sessions with business owners as humanly possible around the different needs they have and what AI can do for them. And I would be making as many offers as humanly possible, right? It's like I have sales teams and I said, oh, how'd you do this week? Terrible. Okay, well, how many dials did you make? How many connections did you make? How many offers did you make? And if the answer is 0, 0, and 0, or they're very low, or they're lower than the par level that we have set, no one should be surprised we're not making sales, right? So I think one of the things that it's helpful on our side as business owners and doing these type of startup businesses is we got to really do a lot more activity than maybe we think we should do. Grant Cardone says we underestimate the amount of effort necessary to be successful. And he's a sales coach. He's talking about it in that focus, right? That utility. I would be focusing mostly on doing nothing but prospecting, period, for the next 2 to 3 months, and just talking to as many people as humanly possible, making custom offers. There's things you could do that will help you get around the track record. When the idea of like, hey, can you show me a portfolio, or can you show me some of the projects you've worked on? Those are questions that arise when someone already has a lack of confidence from the conversation. Doesn't always arise. It's something, but you can get around that. You can also go out as you're doing all these conversations and do little projects for a little bit less money. You can do some free projects to build that portfolio. But the biggest thing you're doing when you're doing this type of prospecting and having all these conversations is you're looking for patterns. You're looking for, where is the real demand? I've noticed that if I talk to a real estate agent, they don't have any interest in spending the money. They don't have a budget. But if I talk to somebody who owns a company in the tech sector, they've always had the budget, and it seems to be a little bit more urgent. When I talk to somebody who has not really been playing with AI personally, I find out they're much more skeptical and they're not willing to pay for it. Or if I talk to somebody who's old school, they're not willing to pay for it. Compared to somebody over here, every time we've made a sale over the last 3 months, it's somebody who's already tried a solution and failed, and we're the second thing they tried. And that was the breakthrough. Like, in starting to learn who to start to target with your advertisements moving forward, or the type of outreach you should be making. So my number one suggestion for now would be, having 3 to 5 conversations every single day. And there's a couple different ways you could do it. And what I would like to do with Pocket Marketer today with you guys in the next 10, 15 minutes is talk about prospecting strategies you guys could be doing that cost money, or maybe they're free, to at least start getting you lots and lots of conversations. Because the path will reveal itself, but if you don't do the right efforts and have the right activities, you won't be productive, essentially. Does that make sense?
Definitely, because that's exactly how I got here.
It's just tough love too, but sometimes that's what we need to hear. So,
yeah, I can.
Cool.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry, these earbuds. I'm not sure. Okay, so I talked to a few people, and the two that said they were very interested. One guy was at he's in the service industry. He like hangs up Christmas lights. He owns a Christmas light manufacturing, and then his side business, he has a junk removal, like one of those big blue containers you put outside the house. And he said that his junk removal thing, he cannot miss one single phone call, or else somebody will go to the next. They'll just going down Google, and he said he wanted voice bots or whatever to answer the call. So I was like, yeah, I'll get back to you. And then all of a sudden it turned into like now I'm switching over to try to learn everything about the voice, how to set up your voice bot and everything. And I still haven't called that back, so there's things like that. And there was an accountant that wanted his database. He had old leads, and he was like, can you reactivate my old leads? And I was like, oh yeah, we could do this SMS text bot. We can just text them all. And now it's been like a month. I've been trying to figure out how to do all the, so I'm trying to figure out the nuts and bolts without actually landing a client or making any money, because I'm worried I don't know how to do it like an expert. So that's my thing. I'm kind of like, I don't want to fake it till I make it. I want to know that I'm doing it right, but I'm just kind of procrastinating, I guess.
Yeah, I got you. Let me tell you something real quick. The idea of vibe coding, everyone's faking it till they make it. AI doesn't have limitations on what's capable. You have to change the way you speak, because that lack of confidence, I can smell it, I can feel it, and that's why people ask for references. That's why people don't call you back. That's why people decide to go look other directions, right? So you gotta squash that inside yourself, Ben, because you are capable. The idea of vibe coding, number one, why don't you go create some stuff? Open up Lovable and start creating random things. Start solving problems. Go on Reddit forums and see the biggest problems to solve in an industry, and go with your spare time and create apps and start to learn that process and get some confidence. The other option is you can always turn I into we, and you can hire somebody who vibe codes overseas, who's $4 an hour, $6 an hour. It's really not that difficult. I've built some seriously cool apps on Lovable in a matter of an hour, right? So the idea of I'm not capable or not sure if I can pull it off, I don't want to take anybody's money, which is good. It's integrity. At the same time, you can change the way you talk. Say, hey, Mr. Business owner who does the Christmas lights and he's missing calls, happy to help you with that. And I can definitely work on building out a solution that has the ability to field these calls for you, leveraging voice AI, and it can make you a lot more money. Tell me, when you actually land a job for Christmas decorations, what's that client worth to you? And he says $2,500. Okay, so if I can get your phone to answer automatically where you don't have to worry about it and schedule your appointments and your estimates for you, I mean, this could make you tens of thousands of dollars. And time is of the essence. Christmas is only less than a month away. 100% quantifying the impact. Well, let me see. I'll go put a direct proposal together and a scope of work and how long it'll take, because I know time's of the essence, and let's get back together tomorrow. And then you can go do research. You can chat JBT your way and Claude your way into figuring out exactly what's going to take and actually get a blueprint from those softwares directly to go into Claude or into Lovable, Claude Code, any of those, and build those out. So like, I think you just got to understand, number one, that's a weird example, if I can be honest. Weird example, extremely seasonal, probably not something you can pull off in time because of the time constraints, but there's going to be things like that all the time. It goes back to, what is AI supposed to do for your life, right? For these businesses, it's one, it's going to help them on labor dollars. Number two, increase their profit margins. Number three, automate tasks that either they're doing, somebody else is doing, or they're paying too much for from other software. It can replace other softwares. It could create custom solutions. You know, it's all about saving time and saving money. So when you're going through these discovery sessions, go have hundreds of conversations in the next 90 days, hundreds, and figure out what people actually need and make lots and lots of offers and let them know. So yeah, I've never built that specifically before, but I haven't found something we can't build yet. Let me get you back with you tomorrow with a proposal. Like, it's a pretty simple transition, right? So when I was in Pocket Market just a second ago, I said, hey, where these guys are really is they really need prospects. They really need to build out a prospect plan to get in front of people and start having these conversations. So what I'd like to do for you today is, I said, hey, can you build out a prospecting plan of exactly what you should be focusing on? So it says, hey, let's set some clear goals. Let's have at least 10 to 15 meaningful discovery calls per person, or maybe one of you can do it for the rest of it's up to you. I do it all of them. I'd have all of you do it if it was me. Number two, I would say, how many times are we going to reach out to people in a week? 50 to 75 touch points per week, whether that's drop bys, whether that's networking events, whether that's cold DMing in LinkedIn and LinkedIn inbox campaign, whether that's the Trojan horse method inside of Facebook groups. Like, the goal is, you have to understand, how many touch points does it take to get an appointment? How many appointments does it take to get someone to say, yes, send me a proposal? And how many proposals does it take for you to get somebody to say yes to a client? It's just building a pipeline. And that's part of business in general, any business like this. You got to build a pipeline up. From there, you're going to take on several very, very different jobs. And you're going to start to see which ones you like, which ones you don't. Some of them have a high PITA factor, pain in the ass factor. Some of them are very low. Some of them pay really well. Some of them went out of scope pretty quickly, and you maybe even lost money. But now you have a portfolio. And from there, you have the ability to continue. You need to understand exactly who the ideal prospect is. It's got to be a decision maker, obviously. It's probably got to be in an industry where they're making enough money and it's not super seasonal, like that example you just gave us, where you can actually create something that long-term gives them a great benefit. It's got to be somebody who has the budget to spend. Psychographically, it's probably somebody who's not afraid of AI, somebody who's already embraced AI at some level, and they value their time more than their money. It sounds like the guy that you spoke to values their money more than their time, which shows you that's probably not a good client anyway, because anybody who's going to talk to you and then go research and try to figure out how to do it themselves obviously has a little bit of time on their hands and would rather figure it out themselves than pay you, right? So finding people who are making this a priority, they're already super, super busy and they don't have time to dedicate to this. They already are imagining it would be very expensive to try to hire someone in-house just for this, et cetera, right? So that's what I would do. So we can build this out. And I would start to execute that, and I would keep track of it myself. I'd say, all right, how many people did you talk today? And I would have to not finish my day until I had that many conversations. And I would look at free and paid to get in front of people. I'm not sure lead magnets are going to do everything for you. They could help you quite a bit, but there's a lot of other things you could do that probably won't cost very much money, like doing the local stuff you guys are doing, joining several Facebook groups and adding value. Imagine you joined a Facebook group, right? And the Facebook group was for one specific industry that you guys have a lot of knowledge in. Maybe and I'm not saying this specifically, but maybe say, Jim, you're in real estate investing, right? So,
Yeah.
Ben, imagine if you're in all these Facebook groups for real estate investing and you just make a video and say, hey guys, made some really cool tools this week for real estate investing that I'm using myself. I just wanted to show you guys because I thought it was cool. And then you show these 3 custom tools you made that solve a legitimate problem that half the group has. DM me if you want to jam on AI. And then all of a sudden you have 15 messages that come into you and you have 15 conversations set up, and you can have discovery sessions with real estate investors who are already watching your content. You added value, and now you have these conversations with them where you can offer specific solutions, or you can rinse and repeat and create that same damn thing again without having to do too much work, but build it for them. This is how most software companies start, right? They build something that they know everyone's going to need, and then they go show it to them, right? How hard would that be? I mean, so Jim, think about if we did some research, you can just go to ChatGPT and say, what are the 15 most common major issues real estate investors are having in 2025, 2026 that AI potentially could solve? Maybe it was a combination of a specific ad you found that worked with the close bot. Maybe it's a way that you're leveraging some database that a lot of you guys use and you're doing it a different way, like similar stuff that Dolmar's been doing, right? And then make a video about it, show them how cool it is. And then, DM me if you ever want to jam on AI, and then just have conversations. Or, hey, DM me if you want a tool like this, I'm happy to help. Right. So just ideas. But that's the stuff you can control. You have the ability to control that effort.
Yeah, that's actually how I got like 500 people to go to the AI for Business, look at it and do all that for their 3-day conference. So I'm already in those groups. So it's just, my message was wrong. It's not there to get the prospects.
But it can be, though. It can, right? Yeah. So it comes down to this. At the end of the day, you can research your way into this, or you already know this. You can pick any industry and say, what are the top 10 biggest problems that somebody in the roofing business has? And you could start to look at, what can I do in some spare time to build some custom solutions that would solve these problems, and then call and have the ability to talk to people about it, or go into a group, make a video, show them, and then have people who have a legitimate problem right now reach out to you. It's huge. Give you an example. Pocket Marketer, my partner, Daniel, literally created a tool for M&A, mergers and acquisitions, which is my industry. We own the largest M&A coaching company in the world. And he gets on the phone with me through his brother's account, gets on through my assistant, past my gatekeeper, on the phone with me. I was driving to the AI for Business event in June in Orlando. And he gets on the phone. He tells me about this thing. He solved this problem that so many people in M&A have. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I don't know how to solve it. He did it with AI. He's freaking brilliant, right? And from there, it was a great high percentage shot to call this guy, because I know all the people in M&A and I know all the people who have those problems. My business doesn't want to solve those problems. So it was a great conversation for him to get in touch with me. And he just did cold outreach and got in front of me. And from there, I said, wow. And I was looking for someone like him to partner with to build out Dealmaker Pro AI, Dealmaker AI, Acquisition School, Pocket Marketer. And we ended up partnering together. But that moment where he already knew my problem because he did enough research, he solved the problem in advance and came to me and say, look at this problem I just solved. That's definitely a lot better of a strategy compared to, I can do absolutely anything. Let me sit down with you as a business owner, try to figure out where your pain points are, and try to convince you I'm a trusted, safe pair of hands for your investment to fix it with no track record, right? Do you see the difference between creating something you already know is going to be an absolute home run that has tons and tons of demand for an audience in a language you already speak, and then showing it to them and then start selling it to them? It's like, it's just a different way to think. Does that make sense? Just trying to give you guys some fresh perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, Ben, you said this earlier, and I don't mind if you would say it again so I can use the clip, but you said, Chris, I'm a copywriter. I was doing this. I was using this agency. Don't worry about the agency name. And then I started using your tool to write copy for ads, and it's outperformed the agency. I fired the agency. It saved me tons of money. You know what? I actually created those tools, and I trained over 20,000 people. And I said, look what I built. Look at the results. And they literally started using it. That tool that you're referencing and the ones that I gave you guys back in June have had over 300,000 uses. That's proof. There's demand. So that's why I built Pocket Marketer, because I know you guys needed it, because you guys used it like crazy, right? So it's like the idea of maybe doing things in reverse sometimes may be helpful. Imagine, Jim, you solve a problem. Let's go back to Ben's example of the company doing Christmas lights. Forget the Christmas lights. In general, you got a services business for the home. They're getting phone calls like crazy, and they can't keep up with it. They're overwhelmed. Usually these very owner-involved, owner-dependent business owners are getting phone calls they can't control. They tried this, they tried that, they tried Angie's, they tried Home Advisor. They have somebody who automated something. They tried a call center, but no one can actually do it. Here's what they're really looking for. Go solve that problem, and then go talk to every home service business owner you can find and show them the solution you made for John, whether even if you made it for free. But it worked. And then you can go demo that again and again and again and start solving the same problem for each person every time. And now you have a productized solution like Ben was talking about, and you're leveraging AI. But it's all about problems. It's not about anything else but bleeding problems and finding somebody who's already waking up that morning waiting to hand somebody some money, and just be there to take it. So it's just some different ways to think about what you guys are doing right now. Hopefully I didn't add more confusion in your life. Hopefully it gave you some clarity, but you guys are fully capable of doing everything I just said. And you can go, and before you build anything, Ben, you can go talk to 25 service business owners right there in Nashville, and you can find out about the biggest issues they have. And if you see that overlap and it ends up being voice AI, inbound calls, scheduling estimates, go solve that one problem. If it's something totally different after talking to 25 people, surprise, this is what they needed. Is that it? Go solve that problem. Go back to them and sell it to every one of them, right? So that's the kind of the idea of the productized business model. Then for you, Jim, you guys can divide and conquer. Jim can go and start creating cool gadgets and gizmos and things for the real estate investing community. If you're plugged into that, go in there and start showing them Trojan horse method, go in and adding value, adding value and showing what you built is not selling, and it doesn't violate the terms of most groups. It's just adding value, and let people organically come to you and set up meetings. Set up 15 meetings from one good post, right? And then Tim, on your side, whatever you're plugged into, you can do the same thing there. But that's how I would do it. And then when you get done and you figure it out, then you go into Pocket Marketer and you can develop all your big ideas. You can develop all your copy, develop all your ads, develop all your lead magnets, but you've tested and you've validated demand. And you found people who already woke up this morning saying, yes, I need to solve this problem. And then money's easy once you get to that point. Cool. I gave you a lot there. Any responses?
Huh.
I gave you a lot. Sorry, guys.
I do have a question. I totally followed everything you did. Great advice. And I think at least Ben and I have had this conversation, is the niche conversation. We need to get down there. Any suggestions on how to find that niche, whether it be, you tell me what your advice would be, but do you pick maybe a couple niches and then we go after those people? And I'm totally into getting in front of somebody and either discounting or giving him something free to get started.
Sure. So. Well, I'll tell you a couple of things. Niches do make sense because being a specialist is always better than being a generalist. Like, people go to specialty lawyers for specialty types of law. They go to specialty surgeons for special types of surgeries. They don't go to an electrician asking to put on a roof. So there's a lot of niches that make a lot of sense. But the method I just taught you is more around solving specific problems that may exist across different niches or maybe in larger categories of niches. So that's one way to look at it. In business acquisition, we have this concept called stay in your lane. We have a concept called being a trusted, safe pair of hands. If you're not in your lane, you don't speak this, you don't talk the talk, you don't walk the walk, you don't know what intelligent questions to ask, you don't speak their language. No investor, no seller, no bank is going to look at you as a trusted, credible, safe pair of hands for a transaction. And I think in business on this side, on the services side, there's a lot to that as well. So my first advice would be, if you are going to niche, stay in your lane. Number one, because if it's not your lane, people will smell it. Like, if you start trying to talk to me about copywriting, Ben and I may have a great conversation around it. I can ask him 3 questions very quickly to tell if he's full of shit or not as well. And people will test you constantly. So I think staying in your lane is a big part of that if you decide to niche, or niche into something and learn something new and become a really big expert in that niche. Then everything's going to be a lot easier. When you niche into something because there's an insane amount of demand there, then that's another reason to niche, but you can always learn what you need to know. ChatGPT can speed up the process really, really quickly of that. So that's helpful. So I would probably start with going a little bit more broad and having, literally, like I said, hundreds of conversations over the next 90 days between the 3 of you. And I think the niche will reveal itself. You will find patterns of certain industries that need this a lot more. And I think also testing what I referenced a minute ago around doing that Trojan horse method on the Facebook groups. And like I said, with Jim and going in and making those videos and showing them. Imagine Brian, he's made a lot of real estate investing focused tools like his Manus tools. And I've done most of their marketing on the automated investor side. So I play with a lot of those tools myself. Imagine if Dolmar went in there or Brian and said, hey guys, I just created this tool that helps us calculate ARV in a matter of 3 seconds. Upload the 2 pictures or upload the address. Zillow will scrape or Google Maps will scrape the image. It'll take all the pictures from the past listing and it will take this, this, and this and determine the ARV for it and how much money you could pay for it without having to do all the research. And like, let me know if you could use something like this. Like that, I mean, of course, Brian would get 100 DMs. So that's a model that's probably going to get you a lot more success faster than trying to pick off and talk to people randomly one-on-one. But I would do a combination of all of them. But I think the niche is going to kind of reveal itself. But if it's not in your lane, then don't be surprised if you're not the person they trust to fix it. Because I think everyone believes their business is different. And unless you understand the little things about the business model and the industry, usually people don't take you seriously. Like if you popped up and says, I'm now a dental marketer. Like, okay, what do you know about dentists?
Yeah.
Nothing. I just decided I just figured everyone has teeth. So I figured I'd be a dental marketer. Like they're not going to hire you. But instead, they could if you got your foot in the door and said, hey, actually, interesting story. I wasn't a dental marketer. I was an aesthetics marketer. I worked on boobs, butts, and Botox. And I actually picked up 2 dental clients as a favor because one of my surgeons owns a dental practice with his brother, and we crushed it. And ever since then, we've been doing this. Like, there's a way to transition that, which that's a true story, by the way. I used to own a medical marketing agency, and I did work with dentists, but I hated them. But, you know, so there's ways to get into that. So, but guys, I'm kind of at the top of my hour today. I've got to go travel for that tournament here in a few minutes, and I've got a meeting. But any last questions for me? And this is our first episode, if you're here watching, of the Marketing Makeover Show. I don't want this to be about, hey, go check out Pocket Marketer. This is about helping the gentleman on the call with clarity so they know what to do walking away from it. Maybe I'm giving you new perspective. Maybe I'm giving a little bit of tough love. Maybe I'm saying, hey, why don't we step up the level of activity we're having? So hopefully you guys didn't take offense to anything I say. I'm just a business coach at the end of the day, and I just speak my mind. So hopefully you got something from that. Any walkaways from me, any feedback, or did you say, all right, here's the 3 things we're going to do moving forward when we leave here today? Do you want to make a commitment? What do you guys want to do?
Well, I'll go first here. One of the big takeaways I'm grabbing here is the effort that we need to put forth, and not that we're not putting the effort forth, but you kind of underscored it, and we need to get out in front of those people. And I'm definitely going to work with Ben to get out physically in front of people and talk more, because I think that'll make a big difference. And for me, that's what I'm going to glom onto as my main topic here, and I'll let the other guys speak.
Well, real quick on you, what are the 3 specific activities? To give you an example, I'm going to go to Meetup, and I'm going to find 5 meetups in the next 30 days and attend them. And with intentionality, I'm going to try to walk away with 5 appointments. Like sure. That could be, so I think even getting yourself even more of an action plan will benefit you from that way. So just something else to think about.
But real quick, I mean, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to attend every Chamber of Commerce function from now, to the end of the year. There won't be a ton, but there are some. So I'll be doing that. And I'm going to be putting out emails in the groups, the business groups, like you spoke of. They're broad business groups. So I'll be doing that.
What are you going to offer? When you go to the number, like what's the walk away? What's the offer on the emails?
So I think it would just be, hey, do you want to get in? Do you have interest in AI, or would you be interested in a free AI analysis of your business problem? And then that would be kind of the opening part, and that would get us in the door. Then we would go in and, work with them there on that. Because we have to get specifics from people. And the only way to do that, I see at this point, not necessarily giving it away, but that's a good place to start. And I think that'll give us the confidence and the groundswell of not experience, but that's kind of the direction we need to take.
When you get access to Pocket Marketer tomorrow, go in there and have that dialogue and ask Pocket Marketer to give you guidance on exactly what to say. Because actually, I challenge you on that. I don't think that's going to work. it's not strong enough of a call to action.
Yeah.
It needs it, the idea of doing an AI analysis to see what you can do to automate. It's just not strong enough. It's not pain driven. It's not benefit driven. It's not specific. It's not clear. So there's a lot of that. And that's the thing in marketing. It's a game of inches. There's a lot of extra stuff you could do there. Like for me, I'd probably, when I spoke to people at the chamber, I'd also visit BNI groups. I'd be a guest at every BNI group without having to pay a single dollar and get to meet almost everyone in Nashville and BNI. And I would train Business Networking International. It's one of the best things you could ever do locally.
Never heard of it.
BNI. So BNI is a group of people. They're all in separate industries by mandate. You cannot have duplicates. Their only existence in that group, and they pay to be there, is everyone's in a growth mode. Everyone is required and in a mindset of referring business to each other. So in BNI, they teach you how to stand up, 30-second timer, elevator speech, and you have to teach people how and when to refer to you, right? So teaching people when it's appropriate to do a transaction is one of the most powerful things you can learn how to communicate in sales, marketing, networking, things like that. So like if I'm at the chamber and I'm walking around and somebody says, first of all, hey, Tim, what do you do, right? You got to master that. You got to be very clear, very action focused. Just like writing a resume back in the day, you need to tailor it to who you're speaking to. Number two, you should have a moment, a story, a quick thing that makes them go, wow. And then the third thing is I'm happy to extend that to you. Let's set up a time to meet and look at it, right? That's the focus of that. Same thing in email, same thing at BNI, same thing at chamber. So like, hey, I'm Tim, what do you do? We actually, we leverage AI automation to decrease labor costs and increase profitability in small local businesses. We've been working with businesses from every angle of every different industry, and we found a way to save them money and save them on labor dollars because labor costs are rising and businesses can't keep up. So we've specialized that, and we've been making quite an impact. And you're like, oh my God. And you say, I'd love to sit down with you, learn more about your business, because I almost guarantee you're paying too much in labor, and you would appreciate better profit margins. Are we in the same page? You're like, yes. Okay, great. Well, why don't we set up a time to look at it? Just happy to take a look. Even if I can't help, I'll give you some good advice. Done. Like that's such an easier, benefit-driven, focused action, story-based way to talk to people. It could be
you're
something.
Not painting yourself into a corner, I guess, if you're
correct
trying to go to a niche. Right.
You already know what they want. Madame Cleo method. That's what I teach a lot. Is like I know more about my prospects and their problems than they know themselves. I can articulate it better than they can. I already know what they want. Every business owner is in the room for two reasons. Number one, they want growth. They're networking. They're looking for growth. So if you're in a commerce or a DNI section, something around probably prospecting and getting them more customers is probably going to be the biggest pain point and why they're there, right? The other thing, if you're talking to business owners, is what's the big thing going on right now? Labor dollars is getting more and more expensive. There's more red tape. There's a lot of things. Just the cost of business is going higher and higher, or AI is interrupting them. So like finding ways to just having an audit, and you don't even call it an audit, just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be fancy. I help people do this. This is why, this is so that. I'd love to take a look for you. So just some thoughts. I didn't mean to derail you, but I just think
that's fine. That's fine.
The intentionality of that's huge. The moment you say your name, the moment you say what you do, the moment you give them that wow moment, and then you set up the next appointment, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like for Ben, copywriter, I'm sure you know what CRO means, right? Conversion rate optimization, right? So you walk.
I've been using your tool a lot with that one too.
Good. So you walk up to somebody at Chamber of Commerce, like, hey, Ben, nice to meet you. What do you do? Say, well, actually, I dive into all of the marketing material for local businesses here in Nashville, big and small. And one by one, I fix all of the marketing copy in a way without them spending any more money. They can convert a lot more customers and make a lot more money, which is increasing the return on ad spend, return on investment, and allowing them to put more money into marketing. Someone's going to say, holy shit, when can we talk? And you are 200% capable of doing that. 200%. And every single person in the room needs it. When's the last time you've looked at your marketing copy? They're probably still sending out the same stuff and then the other thing you could say is I build out 2-year-long email nurture sequences for businesses of all shapes and sizes and colors here locally, because every business usually fails at following up with their customers, especially the ones who aren't ready to buy now. So I've been able to help businesses increase their resale or increase their conversion rate by 30% over a 1-year period, converting customers that didn't convert the first time they came in the sales cycle. Every single person you spoke with who owns a business already woke up this morning knowing and needing they need that. You can charge $5,000 a pop for those. And Pocket Marketer can build that for you. So like the intentionality of how you talk about yourself when someone asks you what you do in those networking events changes. And then how easy would it be to say, I got a little bit, I've got to run. Is there a way you and I can meet up and have a Zoom next week or have coffee? Let's look at your business. Let me look at your marketing because I'm happy to help you plug this system into your business. It's working wonders for others. Like set appointments. So cool. I didn't know we were going this direction today on this call, but I love it.
Yeah, that's exactly why I got into this business, was because my sales and marketing, I put a lot of money into it. The people that were driving my business, that's why I started off with Salesforce. I've gone through RealFlow. I just could never get the marketing or the message out that was right. So I put a lot of money out there. And that's where I went to a guy named Richard Group, and then he kind of opened me up to AI for business. And that's where I had Tim tag along and
good
look where we're at. So
good.
I know I can help with that. It's just getting out and doing it. And I've got 3 real estate investing meetups this week. So
huge. Like think about how are you going to introduce yourself when they say, what are you up to? What do you do? Be intentional, figure out what you're going to say. And then what's going to give them that moment that they just go, wow, wasn't expecting that. And or I need that, and then set up the appointment. Right. So focus on that.
Yeah, just one quick thing, guys. I was doing just a little bit of math, and so my first thing, I was going to talk to 5 people a day. Don't just hide behind email or something. Like actually talk to 5 people a day, and if each of us 3 do that for 90 days, that's 1,350 people.
With a 1% conversion rate at a $2,000 offer, how much money does that make you?
There goes his
1%, like
30 grand
sales.
I mean, 25, 30 grand. You can have a 1% conversion rate and still make 30 grand. What if you had a 2% conversion rate? 54,000. What if you had a 3% conversion rate? 80,000. You see the difference? Like it's just all about the activity levels. Beautiful. Beautiful. Good math. Well, gentlemen, thanks for being on the Marketing Makeover Show. Glad you guys have access to Pocket Marketer. Thanks for applying to win the chance to come on and do this consultation with me. We went way over 30 minutes, but I'm happy to spend as much time as we can. I just have a meeting to go to. But yeah, go forth and conquer. You know what to do. Tim, I think you're going to crush this. When I look at you, if I walked up to you, first of all, you're easy to talk to. You're approachable. And I think I believe you when you speak. So I think the idea of walking into a networking event, as long as you're intentional and know what to say, you're going to walk away with plenty of appointments. Same thing with Ben. I think your knowledge is going to shine through, especially if you can maybe upgrade your own identity a little bit and don't feel imposter syndrome just because you've never done it. You have tools now. You've never been able to design a funnel. Now you're doing it. You're a copywriter. You're not a funnel designer, but now you can do it. You have tools available to you now to give you the chance to do things that you wish you would have had the capabilities of doing for 20 years. Now it's your turn to step into that greatness. And then Jim, you've got a huge network. Obviously you talked 500 people into going to AI for business. You're influential, man. So it's just time for you to have the moment to be a little selfish where you get to win as well, and just be more intentional when you talk to people and network and try to set up as many follow-ups as possible, not just for shooting the shit, but actually around a problem that you've been able to figure out how to solve. That you already know that your colleagues, you already know all of them. You know their problems, you know their pain points. Why don't you spend some time in some R&D in building out some solutions?
Okay.
Cool. That's what Brian Hansen did. I don't know if you guys know that. Brian just gets in there and tinkers. And he's such a smart guy. He figured out all the problems. He started tinkering, making tools that people need and showing people how to do the things that they already woke up this morning needing and wanting. That's why they blew up. It's the same exact process.
And he doesn't sleep.
He doesn't sleep. Ever since AI came for sure. Doesn't sleep. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for being on the Marketing Makeover Show, and hopefully to have you come back on it again in a couple months, and we'll break down what happened and give you some more advice from there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.